are these people?
So the guy at the bottom there will be significant, but you will know his name once we mention him, because we talked about this guy on this channel before, in relation to another larger channel. We'll get into that, or at least Reef, I know you definitely will have stuff to say about that. But
Sure.
you pulled this up for me yesterday, because as I keep saying, this is related to student loan debt. Like, I figured I was done, after, especially the Supreme Court struck it down, and I did a slight victory lap in saying slight, because, like I was saying for months, is going to be struck down for these reasons, and they were struck down essentially for the reasons that I said.
Yep.
But right now we're hearing from everybody on the Democratic side, oh, it's the Supreme Court's fault, it's the Republicans' fault. No one, and like on this channel, I've called out Biden, and I put my 2 feet down and stand by what I'm saying. I have to put the blame on Biden on this, because as I say, he has the best lawyers and advisors in the world, and they didn't expect that, one, it wouldn't be challenged, or two, that using the HEROES Act to cancel student debt was not probably the best way to go about it. And now they're using the Higher Education Act, and now they're saying it's going to take longer.
Come on, man. Give me a little break here.
But all that to say, we've been hearing that it's the Republicans' fault, it's this person's fault, but there's a person that should be implicated too, that I didn't know this, but it makes sense.
Sure.
And this affects a certain channel and a couple of people, especially in this too. So let's see, catch up. There we go. So this article is from Slate, written by Alexander Salmon, a true megadonor. So this kind of goes into student loan debt and the implications by a surprising but not surprising person. So
who wrote this? Who wrote this lie?
Yeah, so while I was away, for you guys who are just coming in, well, actually, I think there are a couple new folks that came in. Welcome, glad you're here. Reef has been playing with the soundboard, obviously, while I was away.
I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. Like, you know how hard it is to find these? Like, I gotta type stuff in now, people. Like,
but anyway, so Alexander reports, President Joe Biden's student loan debt relief proposal is very popular. Roughly 3 in 5 Americans support it. The Supreme Court is very unpopular. According to one new survey, only 3 in 10 registered voters approve it.
That many? That many?
I think for the right wingers, I'm sure that
it's like, that's like, where's that 1 in 10 doctor, bro? Get him in here. Like,
So the court's decision to kill Biden's student loan debt policy and take between $10,000 and $20,000 out of the pockets of needy Americans could mean electoral gains for Democrats. To that end, the liberal nonprofit group Protect Borrowers Action last week announced a $2 million ad campaign targeting House Republicans in battleground districts who signed an amicus brief urging the Supreme Court to strike down Biden's program. Many of those House Republicans also voted to dismantle Biden's plan earlier this year. And again, and water is wet. So we didn't know this. But there was one notable non-Republican group that joined those Republicans in petitioning the court to strike down Biden's proposal. Protect Democracy, a nonpartisan legal group co-founded by Ian Bassing, Justin Florence, and Emily Loeb, all alums of the Obama administration.
Obama.
Yeah, where is that? Come on.
Obama.
Thank you.
Yep. I got it. I just have to
I
go to
know
my
you never
orange
had-
section. You know. So
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
Protect for Democracy, which claims to prevent our democracy from declining into a more authoritarian form of government, filed an amicus curiae brief to the court to bolster the extremely rickety case that the court used to justify its decision.
Whoa.
Oh, you can zoom out.
There you go. Sorry.
It is important to recognize that both student debt and the pandemic have disproportionately harmed lower income and minority communities, but brief read. But the answer to these problems is not the unchecked aggrandizement
Aggrandizement.
of executive power. Thank you.
You're welcome.
The message essentially was that the organization didn't like that Biden was trying to pass student debt relief through executive action. These
Thanks,
are
Obama.
Democrats,
Yep.
right?
You
Not
think.
Republicans,
Mhm.
Democrats,
Yep.
or at least dinos.
The dinos. Dinos and rhinos. What
not-
is this? A special Transformers episode? What are we doing?
It's not an uncommon argument, though it's strange coming from Obama alums. It's stranger still given that Protect Democracy has one really notable funder, Democratic megadonor and top Biden backer, Reef Hoffman. Now, Reef,
Reid?
please, because
Yes.
Reid, not Reid. Yeah, Reid.
Reid.
But please, Reef, can you
Yes.
please explain to our fam, especially for those who are new, who may not have watched I&M within the last year
Our
and a
multiple
half,
coverages of this weirdo?
who is Reid Hoffman?
AFT? I hope. Or I'm dumb. You know? I am sometimes dumb.
Well, why have we talked about him? Who is he connected to?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, he's an internet guy, right? So venture capitalist, standard. He's done OpenAI, LinkedIn.
There's a certain channel that he funds.
Oh, I remember. It's
There you go. There you go.
I remember. It's Crystal
He's
Ball.
one of Breaking Point's funders.
Can you stop embarrassing yourself?
Oh, great. Now you're just going to play a lot of Crystal.
No, I'm not. Only a couple.
Yeah.
You know.
We can do this circle jerk forever.
So. I know, I'm the worst.
Here.
It's okay. We can
Let's
grow
grow
up.
up.
You know.
But we have fun here. We have fun.
We can get serious.
But anyway.
We'll be fine.
Anyway, during the Biden years, Hoffman has positioned himself as the centrist fundraiser of the centrist president's tenure. A co-founder of LinkedIn, Hoffman poured $8.6 million into the 2022 midterms, making him one of the very top individual Democratic donors of the election cycle. He also positioned himself as a close ally and booster of Biden. In 2021, Hoffman hosted a virtual fundraiser for the Democratic National Committee, where tickets went up to $875,000.
What? Huh? How much again? Like
$875,000.
You greedy dirtbag!
What the fuck? Like,
Give me your fucking
Biden later thanked Hoffman personally for his generous support during the event, according to a transcript of the president's remarks. Of course he would.
oh god.
That's
And he
lot of
ran
money.
a bunch of bad boys.
In 2020, Hoffman was an active bundler for Biden's presidential campaign, raising money on his behalf while also putting millions of dollars into super PACs backing Biden's candidacy for the White House. According to Fortune, Hoffman spent $7 million on pro-Biden super PACs and ads opposing Trump. Hoffman even founded Mainstream Democrats PAC, a super PAC to elevate moderate Democrats like, you guessed it, Joe Biden.
Yep.
Already, Hoffman has announced that he will host fundraising events for the president's bid next year. They know they can rely on us, a Hoffman advisor said of the White House to CNBC. There's something of a pattern here. One might phrase that statement with irony. Throughout the Biden presidency, the famously moderate president has had his ambitions thwarted over and over by none other than his fellow centrists.
Come on, man.
I disagree with that. I argue that Biden can only be thwarted if he allows it.
Yeah.
But I digress. From the original Build Back Better Act, which a small group of House moderates worked to sabotage, to the minimum wage hike in the American Rescue Plan Act, which was knocked out by centrists in the Senate, Biden has found some of his greatest opposition from his very own. Both of those failed proposals were, at various times, considered Biden's potential signature accomplishment, much as student loan debt cancellation later assumed that mantle. And it's not the first time that Hoffman's funding has worked counter to Biden's legislative vision. Oh, God. In 2022, much of Hoffman's spending via mainstream Democrats PAC went towards opposing progressive Democrats in primaries. That money ended up going to conservative House Democrats who had opposed and undermined Biden on signature issues. The group successfully went in huge for Texas Democrat Henry
Kuehler.
I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but
whatever.
Who opposed Biden's gun control legislation and continues to oppose him on guns. No, it's Cuellar. There we go. Cuellar also proposed and continues to oppose the president on the all-important issue of abortion rights.
Which
remember that how Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn went to canvass for this bitch?
But I also know that the abortion rights, these are like all of these issues. It's like the same bullshit. Like, we know they could have fixed it already.
Right. Well, it should have been fixed, honestly. But,
right. By them.
Hoffman's super Biden's super PAC, Hoffman's super PAC spending helped Cuellar eke out a narrow victory in a bitter primary race. A similar dynamic played out in Oregon's 5th district, where the mainstream Democrats PAC spent on behalf of conservative Democrats Kurt Schrader, who went to great lengths to undermine Biden's Build Back Better bill and worked to sabotage Biden's popular drug pricing reform in particular. Schrader lost in the primary. His opponent, what's that?
Cuellar, apparently. Like double L-Y.
Cuellar?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
that,
Spanish,
Cuellar.
you know?
Yeah. Schrader lost in the primary. His opponent, Jeremy McLeod Skinner, lost in the general after Schrader refused to endorse his fellow Democrat. In fact, a major percentage of Hoffman's political spending in 2022 was only in the primaries. By late April, his top advisor, Dimitri Malhorn, told the New York Times that putting money towards House Democrats was a lost cause, that midterm wipeout was baked in, and that the best thing to do was try to lock down elections in the future. Biden, by then left for dead by many of the party's usual megadonors, made a handful of decisions that helped win a historic Democratic overperformance in November. He embraced abortion rights after Roe v. Wade was overturned in a much more fulsome way than ever before. He passed a major party line spending bill in the Inflation Reduction Act. And critically, he announced that he would be canceling student loan debt by executive order.
Now that is a lie.
Yep. To be sure, the Supreme Court needed little encouragement to strike down Biden's signature student loan debt proposal. But Chief Justice John Roberts did go out of his way to cite Democrats in his decision to strike down the policy. Nancy Pelosi is mentioned by name in a footnote to the majority opinion. She previously said that Biden did not have the authority to cancel student debt. We know this. It's not Hoffman's or to protect democracy's fault, that the court killed student debt relief, but for a self-appointed Biden booster and believer in the Biden theory of politics, Hoffman sure isn't helping this guy.
No.
Some qualitative polling has shown that Biden is in dire need of, scroll down, please.
Yeah, there you go.
In dire need of something from the past 4 years of his presidency to point to that has immediately improved the lives of voters. It's possible still that Biden's plan B of debt cancellation will succeed. No, it won't. But none of these Hoffman-funded groups nor Hoffman himself have made major public commitments to helping the president's new signature policies succeed. For now, all they managed to do is help deprive Biden of something he can actually run on.
Yep.
And so you brought this for me. This is from the Debt Collective. But they said, slowly but surely, as student debt payments resume, millions of people will ask, why isn't there another pause extension? And then they'll find out Biden negotiated away the payment pause months ago in a debt ceiling deal, even before SCOTUS ruling. And more of the story, get money out of politics.
Yep.
Especially Reid Hoffman, get his ass out. Yeah, but just this writer in this article basically makes Biden a sympathetic figure in terms of, oh, it wasn't his fault. You know, it was Reef Hoffman who called, but no, like Biden's only in control of what he allows it to happen. And he's pretty much said in the past that he basically will become, or what would become, basically a hoe. His words for the establishment. And basically that's what he said. Like, you know.
That's the only way you can find room to pay for it.
Right. So it's not like,
yeah, he's gonna, I would prostitute myself, essentially. Like, he was mad that they wouldn't let him prostitute himself. That's what he was upset about.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And now he's essentially like, it doesn't take much. Well, it takes quite a bit in our standards, but for him, not much to, but again, I would argue like that probably, like the idea of Biden canceling student debt, I argue that he never wanted to cancel student debt anyway. So it was just the idea that he was getting money essentially to tank it, you know, it's just a bonus for him and the party. Yeah. You know, because now, as we say, they can fundraise us for the money in light of,
we gotta fix it. We gotta fix the problem that we could have fixed.
We need more people in the Senate. We need more people in the Senate so that we're able to actually do something.
The polls.
So,
vote harder.
You know, like doing the right thing doesn't, you know, like doesn't mean anything to these people. It's the idea of how much they can get, you know, so that they're willing to tank these bills. So I didn't like this sympathetic take. I'm wondering if it was sarcastic.
No, I think it's from Slate. No, that's how they think.
It is?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's them. That's like shit. That's like shit Libby defending of like it's not really, it's these. So what it is it's like rotating villain syndrome.
Yeah. So it's like these other. It's basically in line of, oh, it's the parliamentarian. Oh, it's Joe Manchin.
Yes.
Oh, it's Kirsten Sinema.
Yep.
Oh, it's all these people that are preventing Biden from actually. It's to actually do the things that he wanted to do. Biden is not the president that he doesn't have any control or actually put his foot down to actually make these people accountable and bend to, and use the bully pulpit to bend to his will if they sabotage any of his plans.
Yes,
Biden doesn't have any of that control.
It wasn't me, pretty much.
Right.
That's what this is. But it's also like, I mean, look, they've done this to Nancy Pelosi with her like stock buyback, like all that crap. Her, you know, they allow these terrible Democrats to exist. It's like what the Squad does. The Squad blames it on these worst Democrats and then does nothing to get rid of those worst Democrats. Like,
right. It's like how AOC, when she, well, this wasn't new, but I think it was new to a lot of people that she was endorsing Biden and basically making the comment like, oh, it's the Senate that prevented any changes, not the House, where Mama Bear was, that prevented a lot of these issues, especially regarding student debt, that a justice actually quoted her, basically saying, you know, that student loan debt cannot be forgiven. You're not going to call her out, but you're
it'll
going to call
never
out.
come to pass.
So,
yeah.
But
they've always
long
had the
story
power,
short,
Collin. That's
you know,
the problem.
So anyone who watches this clip, tag Crystal and Kyle to this and be like, so you know that one of your major donors, at least for breaking points, is responsible for essentially tanking student loan debt. What says you? So
Yeah.
do that for me in the comment. Do that for me on Twitter once we clip this out. Thank you.
Problem gets serious.
But